is Not Sam Wrestling.
Introducing your host from New York, here is Sam Roberts.
So, not the first time on the podcast, but for the first time in the Not Sam studio, it's a bonus show, it's Not Sam Wrestling, and it's Bill Miekina from Mattel. The one and only, the famous social media's own Bill Miekina from hashtag Make Bill Sweat. What's going on, man? Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. It's great to be back here again. Actually here for the first time, but back on the show again.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here.
Well, obviously, I'm glad that you're here. And I'm especially glad because I think if people are watching this video right now, which will be up on YouTube and stuff if you're just listening to the audio, there's a big distraction because right in the center of a table is a bunch of stuff that I certainly have never seen before. And I think most people have never seen before.
Probably as the taping, you're probably one of maybe the first person outside of Mattel to see this. This was brought in to sort of world premiere at Ringside Fest. But we're getting a sneak preview of it now here. We have Eric Young, from Sanity. This is his first ever Mattel figure, and it's in full elite.
Look at the boots. Look at those boots. Look at that. So we're looking at Elite 65 right now in front of us, and Eric Young is the first figure that we're looking at. Eric Young is like amazing because everything is new on it. All the molds and everything. The vest with the hood up.
There's a lot new on him. Yes.
He's got. Are the knee pads like?
No, the knee pads are existing, but just when you paint them in different colors and deck them in different colors, it kind of makes it look like a new part.
I guess, and you normally don't have multicolored painted knee pads like that. And the boots, if you could see...
The boots are definitely a new part.
Yeah, if you can see the front of these boots, they're just like his are in the sense that, like, they're tied only halfway up, and the tongue is coming down and everything. They look amazing. He's got the scarf covering his face, and I'm assuming that's two parts, right? Like, the scarf is one part.
Just remove him from camera a little bit.
I
will remove the entrance accessories to show the full figure.
Yeah. Now, do you get excited about stuff like that when it comes time to finally... Because you obviously have been sitting on this stuff for a long time. We saw, like, versions of them at Comic-Con. We saw, like, renditions, right? Like, the images. But for people to finally be able to see these figures...
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
it's... To get the reaction... Because how long... have you kind of felt like, okay, I'm ready, the figures are ready to be seen?
These ones actually, it's usually longer before we display something like this. Like, I just got first samples from the factory on these just a couple weeks ago, and already made the comments, and, they were able, like, these are actually like the second versions of a lot of these figures, just because the first ones came back and they really weren't ready to show. So I asked, like, hey, we have a show coming up in New York. Is it possible to get updated, with the changes I needed on these quickly, and they moved so fast to get these to them.
That's amazing because you used to hear stories from like figure companies and stuff that like you remember like when Hasbro was doing it when we were kids that you'd have figures constantly of guys that hadn't been in the company for 6 months just because it took so long to do the simplest things.
Yeah, I have no idea how a toy company would have operated before email, especially with all the production, facilities overseas. Like, I don't know how, like, was it through like actual like going to like a courier, like a FedEx courier, or a Western Union telegram. I can't even I can't wrap my head around how this stuff was done back in the day. Like typing out on a typewriter and sending over paper notes and just waiting for them to get on a plane and then get the reply back. Like how many weeks later? It's like.
Are there moments of panic ever, like when you get a sample back and you're like, this is so far away from what I thought this was going to be?
The most panicked I've gotten recently that I can remember is, I think, the recent Elite Kevin Owens. The first head I got on that was a brand new sculpt and a brand new deco, and when I got it back, I'm like, this looks nothing like Kevin Owens.
Was it just the likeness wasn't right?
The likeness was off, and then they didn't deco the new, because it was like when he was doing, like, last year when he kind of shaved... shaved the beard closer and shaved the hair closer.
Yeah.
Like the new Face of America run.
Right.
Which unfortunately didn't last very long enough for the figure, so it's probably like a one and done for that head. But when I first got that, I'm like, the deco on the hair was way off, the beard was way off, and the face was bad. It just didn't look anything like him. And so I was like, gosh, and I was in a panic mode because I'm like, I spent thousands, the company's money to tool his head, and it's like, this looks nothing like him. So
So you can't present that. You can't be like, here's what
I would never have put that figure, in like a forum like this, like a Ringside Fest or anywhere, just
Right.
because I know that people will slaughter it, and rightly so.
But you can't even write like this is not the final product because it's like it's still.
Yeah.
Like you can't even show that off because that'll be the memory that sticks in people's heads.
Exactly, and then you'll get the I don't know, like Owens Gate or something. God
Like
knows.
Dude Gate.
Yeah.
So you can see, I mean, Eric Young there. The likeness is pretty incredible. The hair, like all the texture on the hair and everything. He's got his crazy blue eyes and the tattoo that I think you previewed on your Twitter and everything. Do you like the fact that Sanity hasn't gotten a ton of TV time since coming to SmackDown? Does that worry you when you've got a figure like this ready to get made, or are you looking at this like this figure is so good and people like the character enough that it doesn't matter?
I think for a lot of debut characters, there's more of a demand for them. From the people that just want to I want one of everyone on the roster.
Right. I mean, that's
So-
what I do. I end up getting multiples, but I make sure that there's one of everyone on the roster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets trickier when you're in a situation where it's someone we've done before, and like the variation between the last figure and this one is maybe not as great, and then that character's TV time sort of tails off or trickles off, and then it's like, I don't know, this is maybe the timing on this one maybe could be better, but
Yeah. Now, Elite 65 is going to be out when?
early next year. I think like 63 is the first official wave of 2019, and I know that some online retailers are getting it early and already selling it. And I think 64 is actually shipping as well. So
Right.
this is the next one in the sequence.
And this is where instead of having the Rob Schamberger artwork in the background, we've got hands with everybody.
We decided to
Extra hands.
extra hands. Yeah, 'cause, I mean, I love the Rob Schamberger artwork. I mean, the
Yeah.
guy's, I mean,
He's
obviously,
amazing.
He's amazing. But I think with the stands, what bothered me was like, in order to use it properly, the stand properly, you're actually putting the figure right in front of the artwork,
Oh, so you have to block it anyway.
and you're blocking it.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you're
yeah,
really
yeah.
not getting full credit for it.
Uh-huh.
So, we always try to keep it fresh too. So when, we also keep track of like what other companies are doing well that people are responding to, and extra posable hands, like when you see like a Spider-Man figure and he has he can do like not just like fighting fists, but he can also do like the web spinning,
Right.
or,
Well,
like-
yeah, I mean, and let's move on to Nia Jax on that then, because Nia, you did something, and you don't mind that I
No, not at all.
handle your goods.
No, not at all.
Nia, you did something interesting because much like the Pennywise that I have up there, a lot like what NECA and collector friendly lines are doing a lot of. With Nia, you packed multiple heads.
Yes.
Is she gonna get extra hands and extra heads?
The female figures in 2019 will not have the extra hands just because tooling budget won't allow it right now. Just because we have to make so many new hands that our usual elite tooling budget is a little. It's usually I don't come as close to maybe reaching the budget on certain years, but this year because we had to sculpt so many different hands, I wanted to make sure I had money in the budget.
Right. Yeah, because so many of these guys have hands that are one and done. Like, and we'll talk about some
Although
of
it
them.
is funny, there are stuff I thought would be one and dones. Like I thought, like the Cena, like the you can't see me hand
yeah.
would be a one and done. But I've been able to like use it and like correctly for like doing like the Finn Balor when he comes out and does the.
It's the same hand, I guess.
And we did the Scott Hall when we put.
Oh, going.
Yeah.
So do you sometimes go like, wait, what hands do we have? Like, what could I do creatively with some of these things?
Yeah, and there's situations. There was one where I think it was actually yesterday where I was like, gosh, I need new hands for this. And looking back, it's like, no, this hand will work just as well.
Right.
And it's existing.
Right.
So, and it's just a matter of like posing it differently on the hand. It's like instead of posing it up, you pose it to the side. It has a totally different meaning for that character as opposed to the one it was originally sculpted for.
Right. Like, I would imagine that people wouldn't necessarily think, you can't see me is what Scott Hall would do, but when you go like this,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, that's the entrance.
And then I think that was actually maybe the first time we showed that figure was on the Scott Hall with the hands, and people thought, we sculpted it for the Scott Hall, and it's
Right.
like, no, we sculpted it for Cena. But if it works, let's use it.
And it's good because, like, historically, like, there'd be figure companies that would reuse parts. Hasbro did it. Jakks did it. Like, everybody's done it, where it's like, that doesn't work at all. Like, I don't know why you even bothered doing that. Like, you would see sometimes on these Hasbro figures that obviously I love, those are the ones because I'm so nostalgic for them, that they're my pride and joy and everything. But, like on like the Ric Flair figure, you could plainly see that they're just painting flesh over what was supposed to be tights, and that's it. They haven't actually made a new anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one I remember most on that one was the Rick Steiner had a demolition,
and you could see the studs.
Torso, and if you rub your finger on his ass, you can feel the demolition studs.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know, I don't remember that on Rick Steiner.
Why would he have that? But then Jakks would do like weird stuff. Like Jakks would do, they'd have like a Hardcore Holly figure. And the first run of them would have that like Owen Hart lower torso with the bike shorts. Mm-hmm. But then they'd replace it so that it would just have the Owen Hart pelvis, and then they just put Sid legs on it and paint bike shorts. And it's like, why would you do? What good would come of that?
Now that I'm sort of like on the inside, like when I hear about stuff like that, I sort of try to figure out like, okay, what do I think happened in that situation that caused that, and like. There's certain situations, like I know when Star Wars was relaunched, like there was like this whole thing about like saber tray length and like short saber, long tray, and long tray, short saber, and it's like how is this stuff like this happen? And now that I've sort of had some exposure to it, it's like,
so how do you suppose that would happen? Where it would be like we're just gonna replace legs with worse legs halfway through the line?
It might be like a running change or something, or the mold maybe was. There was a request to the factory to use a certain mold,
and they just didn't.
And they didn't, or they wanted to use a mold, and wires got crossed, and they ran like the mold that was like one number off, and they just painted it. So it's like,
and then you just get a ton of them, and you're like, well, I mean, I'm not going to redo all of these.
Yeah,
there's nothing I can do here.
Like, you can ask for running change, and it's like depends on how. Like I've asked for running changes on stuff, and it's like you'll get like, like. Let's just say one is like 20,000. It's like they've made like 19,000 of them. And it's like, okay, we'll do the running change for the last 1,000. It's like, well, great, but that's.
Well, what is like something that you've had a running change where it's only been the last however many, or like a really small number of figures actually have the change?
The one that's most obvious to me is the defining moment Sting, the boots, the first. It's a majority percent. I don't know exactly how much it is, but it had the lace boots.
Yeah.
And then we did correct that to, like the slab-sided boots. But there's so little out there. I mean, I only found a sample for myself at our Mattel company store.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, that makes me want to go look at my Sting right now and see which version that I have.
It's probably the laces, and I that's one where that one's on me. I should have just used different boots.
I guess I didn't even know that existed. Well, we'll go back to Naya. Because we were talking about that. So is this like you go, well, Naya changes her hair so often. How are we going to get a figure that like, because we want to do an elite Naya.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get to do 3 of them, right?
Right. And this was before, like if she would have won the women's title, in the time frame where we were developing the figure, this figure was like scheduled right before WrestleMania. So her WrestleMania gear was not, something we could reproduce. I thought her WrestleMania gear was quite great, and maybe if we would have scheduled her figure, 2 or 3 months later, we would have done that. But it's like, what can we do in Elite Naya that's actually worth above and beyond, what we've already done with Basic Naya, which I think our Basic Nayas have been really, really good.
Yeah, me too.
So, obviously, a dedicated torso sculpt, everything on there is new.
Yeah, and look at the molding on it, too.
Yeah.
I just kind of noticed that, like, all of this, like all this detailing that you really don't have to do, but there's a ton of stuff that's not just painted on. It's actually
it's all sculpt detail, and actually sculpting that detail actually does make it harder to deco. Mm-hmm. So that also justifies having that as an elite version as opposed to a basic. And then just also every time there was a stage where like every time she would show up on TV, she would have a different hairdo. Right. She had like the original hairdo, which is this sculpt, and then she had like sort of like the Veronica Lake style, which is the second. Yeah. And then when she had the storyline romance with Enzo, which ended rather abruptly, she had like the long braids, and it just looked so different. It's like, I think we should just do that. Yeah. And I think when we talk to other people on the line, like, yeah, that's a good idea. And it's just trying to come up with something that I think people would, if you already have a Naya, like what's gonna cause you to want to buy another one.
Right. No, that makes sense. Now, have you talked to her about this at all? Do you know what her take on it? Because I feel like, if I'm one of these people that has a figure with a ton of different heads, I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I don't think so.
Some people don't even care about figures. It's a weird thing to me. It's foreign concept to me, but
yeah, there's certain people that care a lot, and then there's certain people that I think a lot of the older talent. I think maybe not be as. I found that like people that are brand new
because they didn't grow up with it, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody here grew up with figures, right? Mm-hmm. So the idea of having a figure would be something. I think somebody older that didn't necessarily grow up with wrestling figures or whatever is not sitting there going like, oh, one day I'm going to be this guy, because it wasn't part of their childhood. It's not something they're nostalgic for.
Yeah.
Right?
Whereas I think like the younger talent, I think there's like 3 milestones to the WWE is like 1, making the main roster,
mm-hmm.
2, making well, actually maybe 4 once they're on the main 3 once they're on the main rosters are making the video game,
right?
Making WrestleMania and getting your figure.
Yeah, that makes sense. This is well, actually, let's move to Roman. Mm-hmm. Roman, of course, and Roman's another guy who you've done a ton of Romans.
Yes.
I guess it's got to be difficult to figure out, okay, what's going to make this Roman different. This is one, I see this here. This is one where you've taken advantage of the extra hands. And is this also one that you would think would be one and done, but isn't?
No, but that was actually sculpted for the Samoa Joe figure.
Right.
But, when you see images of a lot of the Samoan wrestlers, they're doing like the Hawaiian
Shaka Bra?
Yeah, the Shaka Bra hand signal. So and when you put it on the figure, it does look, I'll change out the left hand here.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, it does. It does look, and that Roman face looks a lot like Roman. You have to be happy with how far. So the new technology, forever, it was that sort of same real scan technology that they'd been using, right? Mm-hmm. And now, what exactly is the new facial technology that's gotten it to the point where these are like mini 3D photographs?
Well, we still use the laser scanning for the faces, mm-hmm. and it's just we've improved our. We're using digital inkjet printing on the faces instead of tampo and mask painting.
So it's coming from a printer.
Yeah, it's actually they load like 30 heads in a tray in a printer, and they're all aligned, exactly the same, and then it goes back and forth, and it, and you get 30 identical faces, and you can add for the cost of, and actually it's actually saves money too. So it's like it's less expensive, mm-hmm. and it's better. Like this is like one of the biggest wins we've come across in a while. So
like the faces look better and it's less expensive.
Yeah,
that's kind of crazy.
It doesn't always work out that way.
Is there anything else new about this Roman? Is there anything? This title, is that more detailed, or am I losing it?
We've used that Intercontinental title before in the past, so I think most of the new on him is the interchangeable hands.
Yeah.
New artwork on the chest logo.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I thought that was new.
Yeah, I think it's.
And that's is that the first time for that face, or have you used that face before?
We might have used that head before, but it would be the first time we've used that deco on the face. It's an improved deco on the face. Gotcha.
Okay, so that's Roman. Mm-hmm. I've also noticed, and I guess, well, we can go right to Rusev.
Sure.
And this is pretty perfect for both of those guys to be in the same set. But Rusev, at what point did you realize we need like a really, really good Rusev figure? Because I would imagine, right, when there's a wrestler who's like Rusev that all of a sudden gets this tidal wave of fan support.
Yeah. Like
that would cue you to be like, we have to do something where he has an awesome figure because now everybody loves this guy, right?
Yeah, I think we started working on the Rusev for a while before this wave, for an earlier wave. And
he looks a little like, if he had white hair, he would look a little like old Orson Welles.
A little bit, yeah. Kind of like we're like a jacked Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That's right.
And for some reason, he got pushed back a few ways, but it actually helped us out because the original accessories would not have included the Rusev Day shirt. It would have been a different accessory.
Really?
So once that shirt, came out and you sort of took off like mad, it's like, well, we basically cut everything but the key. Because I think the key is fun and it's new and it's it's really something you're only ever going to get with this figure.
Yeah, totally.
And,
now, what changed that you guys went back to doing fabric shirts and fabric like stuff that we'll see here and talk about? Because I far prefer the fabric stuff.
It's not so much a change. It's more just like whenever we can afford to use it.
I see.
We'd like to use it. And I don't like to use it if it's a situation where if I do it in soft good, we're going to lose a lot of surface detail. So if someone has a lot of surface detail on an entrance gear,
that makes sense.
There are instances where I would rather do it as a molded jacket,
like one of the big coats.
Yeah,
with
like Miz is a good example.
Right.
It's like he comes out with his jackets have a lot of detail and a lot of change of plane, like the like scalloping and stuff. It's like if we did it as a soft good, it would look like. So I would rather tool that. It does kind of stick the arms in place. It's a trade off, but for me, I'd rather get the outfit as accurate as possible. But when it is a situation where you can do an as accurate as possible outfit in soft goods, I always try to do so. If the budget allows.
Yeah, that makes sense. And for Rusev, you got your Happy Rusev Day shirt. Like
yeah.
you just got to get the logo on there, and you're good to go.
And I think that's a situation where, even if you have previous Elite Rusevs, the Rusev Day, has been such a prominent feature of the programming that you're gonna want to get the Rusev Day version of Rusev.
Right. Now, you had to be sitting there watching the current product going like, I really hope Aiden English and Rusev maintain either whether they're working against each other or as partners. Like, I just hope that they keep working together because it's really the best way that adding Aiden English to this line makes the most sense. So I guess is Aiden English the Chase figure?
That is the Chase version, and then this is the standard version.
Oh, I see. The standard version is the one in the coat.
Yeah, well, both are going to have coats.
Okay.
For the display purposes, I left the coat off. They don't have the full accessories just because the Aiden comes with a bunch of stuff. I don't want to overload.
What else does he come with?
The Aiden English will come with the jacket, the sunglasses, the scarf, which has a different deco for each figure, depending on regular Chase. The microphone is the square one, and it will be changed to the triangle.
Oh, that's great. Oh, so it's going to be a unique microphone for him.
Well, it's the triangle. They sent the wrong microphone.
Okay, sure.
But I'm still going to show it because it's such a minor thing.
Right.
Like if there was major issues with the figure, I wouldn't show it. But that's like that one I'm not concerned because we are going to change it. And then the hands, and he's got the flourish hands.
So that's a new hand that he's got.
That is a new hand sculpt.
Right, and that's one I'd love to see you try to figure out where Aiden's hand could be used possibly again.
I know for sure that right hand is being used elsewhere.
You can't tell me where though.
Not just yet.
Oh man, if anybody's got any guesses, feel free to leave it in the comments or tweet it out or whatever, because I have no clue. So the difference is pretty much just what's on the tights.
Yeah, the difference is what's on the tights. The standard will be the jet black, and then the Chase will have the artwork on the side.
And the Chase figure is happening for every Elite series for the next year at least.
For at least this year, yes.
Right. So we've got Shelton Benjamin's the first one with the gold standard, and that's probably like the most different.
Yeah.
Right. And then you got Kurt Hawkins in '64. One is in blue and one is in black.
Yes.
And then Aiden is in '65.
Yes.
I see. Do we know who the Chase one is going to be in '66?
I think so, but I do actually.
But you're not you can't tell me though.
I'll probably next time we do reveals, it'll probably be
excellent.
Display, so.
Excellent. Okay, so there's Aiden English, and then this is the first series that you're doing in Elite that is going to have the store exclusive, right?
This is actually the third. This is the first one was the Bob Backlund for Walmart. And
that was before.
That was in '63.
Oh, so that's coming out like very, very soon.
It should be hitting stores. Either it's the first wave being shipped to Walmart in 2019.
Wow. Okay.
So
okay, I thought
Bob Backlund is the exclusive.
I didn't realize that was starting so quickly.
Yeah, and then Pete Dunne for Target is the next one.
You had to be so excited to do the Pete Dunne figure.
That one came out pretty well. He's got a very prominent sneer. You don't see that a lot on figures, and it's cool to capture that on figures.
And is Pete Dunne come with the UK Championship? Or
no,
just
he
the
comes
vest?
he comes with the vest. Like at the time we were developing the figure, he just won it, and
Right.
I had no idea how long he would hold it. And now he's like the longest, WWE title holder in
So if you-
with the company. So it's like, well,
If you want it, though, you got to try to find that Tyler Bate figure.
yeah, I think there's some of those still around.
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
But again, it's one of those. It's an existing tool.
Yeah.
So if by chance someone else wins the title in the near future, obviously the chance for that person to make it into line with the title, goes way, way up.
But in this set, there'll be an exclusive Sensational Sherri, which people have been asking for a long time. And this is exclusive to which store?
This is exclusive to Walmart.
Okay, so in this line, Sherri will be shipped with them, but only at Walmart's. And the dress is completely fabric, which, by the way, I mean, I would imagine that working at Mattel, when you have figures with fabric clothes, that really helps. Because, I mean, Mattel has been making fabric clothes on figures for forever. Like, they're the...
Yeah, we
the
have,
ones,
we have some
right?
resources that
Yeah.
other companies don't have access to, which is very helpful. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Now, she has wrestling gear on under... This Sherri is
Yes.
obviously Queen Sherri that would be with the Macho King.
Yes.
And she had... You can... Oh, pass that to you if you
Yeah,
want.
if I'll just take it off camera, and if you remove the crown and the dress,
Yeah.
it is a full wrestling attire version.
That's pretty amazing.
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
This is an idea from actually Steve, our marketing wizard, to
Put her in wrestling gear?
have one where you can take off the gear and she's got so you can sort of, because my own personal taste would run toward the manager version of Sherri with the gown.
Well, I think that's where she's... I mean, I guess it depends on when you were watching, like how old you are. But for me, too, I think as much as you appreciate Sherri as a wrestler, the most iconic version of Sherri, for me anyway, is whether it's Shawn Michaels, Macho King, even with Ted DiBiase, is the manager version of Sherri. But I mean, this is the perfect compromise.
And this way,
this is absolutely
you get
ideal.
both. And it's very distinct. 'Cause I know in the past, like the Jax Sherri figures are some of their best work. I mean, they're really, really nice figures. So I didn't want to do just step on ground they've done be fast. I want to get something that even if you have all those and you love those figures like you should, this is you're gonna want and need this one as well too.
Because I would imagine that if you're gonna do a Sherri as a designer, because you're the head designer for the Elite line for Mattel, right?
Yes.
That's I would imagine that what you would really want to do is that SummerSlam '92 outfit. Jax did it,
Yeah.
but that to me is like one of the perfect Sherri figures.
Like if I was designing a Sherri figure just for myself, no one else, it would probably be the manager when she was with Macho Man at WrestleMania 7, just sort of complete that set. But that figure really doesn't lend itself to much besides interacting with those two Defining Moments figures, which at this point had been years and years off the market. So this makes sense to me, but we're trying to sell to more people than me. So
Yeah.
something like this, I think, reaches. You can put this figure with those two other figures, and you still get the gist of what it's a sensational Queen Sherri.
Totally, absolutely. And this last one that you brought is not part of this series.
Oh, it is part of the series, yeah.
Oh, she is?
Yeah, she is.
Oh my God, already?
Yes.
I can't believe this one. This is amazing. I thought we were just kind of saving it for last as a preview, but this is part of Elite 65.
This is Elite 65. This is the Ronda Rousey figure, first Elite figure. As you can tell, we are breaking our ass to get Ronda Rousey into the line as soon as possible and in as many ways as possible. So the first Ronda Rousey figure we were able to get into the line was based off of the Royal Rumble appearance, and then this is based off 1 month later at the Elimination Chamber,
right,
where she officially signed her contract, and it's got everything you need to recreate that moment. It's got a figure, a brand new Elite figure, with the first time with the jacket.
And I don't know, I haven't gotten to see the basic figure in my hand, but when I picked this up today, because this is the first time I've seen a WWE Ronda Rousey figure.
Yes.
When I picked this up today, it's jarring. You would think that you guys were rushing them out so that eventually we're going to get this great Ronda Rousey, but for now, we get what we get because we're trying to do it. But this thing is it's jarring how good it is. The likeness is on point completely. Like the detailing on the jacket, Like it's a little big in the sleeves, the same way hers was because it was Piper's jacket. Like it's just, and there's the detailing all on the back and everything. It's awesome. And you didn't even like, you could have theoretically done like the Stephanie McMahon pants with the high heel or whatever, but this is all new, right?
It's actually reuse. I think it might be the same. There's some sharing with the Carmella again.
Oh yeah, up here in the baggy,
But I think the hips are replaced with a different hips. The torso might be shared with the basic, but the head is actually all new. It's a different head from the basic.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, because the first head was done without the scan data, and then we made a special trip out to scan her to get an even better head, and this is the first one.
Yeah. So obviously the table's breakable. It comes with the tablecloth and everything that you can put over, and I'm going to try to make it so that the camera can see. The contract that it comes with, which is amazing, actually says Ronda Rousey on it.
Yeah, it's. I tried to, using screen caps and stuff, try to get as close as possible to the actual contract that was at the Elimination Chamber, and I think I got pretty close.
So is the idea going to be, are you guys kind of working as you go with Ronda, meaning like we saw her at the Rumble, so we're going to make a basic figure right away. Then this figure is from Elimination Chamber, so it's like that night we're going to start working on this. Once WrestleMania hit that night, are you like, okay, this is her ring gear?
Yeah, once she comes out with that, it's like, well, obviously we're going to work on that as well too.
So how far are we from a ring gear, Ronda, do you think? Like what time? Well, around when next year would you imagine?
I can't talk yet on that.
Do you figure it'll be an elite?
Maybe.
Yeah. I would figure it would be an elite. I mean, Ronda's one of those athletes that even if you need to be careful how many, the male to female ratio in the elite line, like Ronda's going to sell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she's such a star as it is. Well, man, I mean, you have to be so excited about this line. Your elite lines have just been completely amazing lately.
I'm very happy with it. I think the level of action figures, especially at like a $20 price point right now, it's staggering. Like how much good stuff there is. Like even stuff like the Power Rangers figures I saw, and I don't even collect Power Rangers, but I saw these like, gosh, like what a great time to be a Power Rangers fan.
Yeah, this
stuff is so great. I mean, I myself collect Marvel Legends as well as these, and it's like, it's great because like like the it's a kind of like a trite saying, but like the rising tides raises all boats. It's like I think we're in that era now where it's like, like wow, look what that company's doing. Like it's so great. Like why aren't we doing that? Well, let's just do it.
Right.
And then as a result, you're getting,
and that's where you've got like the different hands, the different heads, like the little detail in the Ronda contract, like this little stuff that you don't have to do, but just brings it to a whole another level.
And I know that other companies are looking at our line, at the elite line, and going like, wow, that's like I can't believe you're able to do that. And then that influences them to improve theirs. So it's nice. It's nice to have some sort of involvement in that sort of, it's almost like a mutual admiration society.
Totally. Now, while we're talking about elites, you've been making a lot of news in the wrestling figure world lately due to the Major Brothers and their eBay collection podcast. Dude Gate is a thing, and I have to tell you, you guys come out. I wish I had the Dude Love figure here. I don't have it yet. I think I'm going to get it this weekend. But you can Google it yourself. You can find it.
It's a fantastic figure.
It is a fantastic figure. And the first time I saw it, I think it was probably at Ringside Fest last year, was when you first... Did you display it? I thought you displayed it last year.
It might have been last year.
Yeah. That was the first time the public could see it.
Yeah, and then it actually changed.
Because it was supposed to be in a different line.
It was supposed to be and then it changed again.
Right.
I should probably actually tell the Dude Love story here because I know that.
Are you ready to?
I think so.
It's out now. You said once it finally got out.
Yeah, it is out. So it was originally planned for a Hall of Fame series through Target.
And for those that don't know, I mean, I would assume most people that are still watching and listening would know, but you guys did Corporate Mankind, you did Original Mankind, you did Cactus Jack, you did Cactus Jack with the flannel, and there was never a Dude Love.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, why would that be the one? You've had every incarnation of this guy.
I think
You
maybe
did a general manager Mick Foley.
Yeah, I
right?
think just tangentially the way like Mick Foley himself is sort of like considered like Dude Love, maybe like the least of all his personas. Is like maybe in terms of like trying to gauge interest. Like obviously there's gonna be a lot of demand for Mankind, and then both versions, both the debut and the like the corporate, and then Cactus Jack. I've always loved Cactus Jack.
Of course,
like,
you have to.
Even this might if it was between Dude Love and Cactus Jack, I think most people are gonna want the Cactus Jack.
So he's supposed to come out. How long ago? He's supposed to come out in a Hall of Fame series.
Yeah, that might have been maybe late 2015 or early 2016.
So we're talking almost 3 years ago.
Yeah.
About 3 years ago, we'll say.
And then what happened was the Target Hall of Fame, the first series was drastically underordered and sold out almost instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And we were developing the second series. Second series came.
Who was in the first series, just to remind people?
I think that was Sergeant Slaughter and Trish Stratus.
Right, I remember.
And I think was Yokozuna?
Yokozuna in the white?
Yeah, but I don't know if he was first or second. I think the first one was actually all repaints because it was like, we want these and we want these like immediately. So it was like, there's no time to tool. So I think it was all four. It was a Warrior, it was a Trish Stratus, it was Sergeant Slaughter, and gosh, I'm blanking on it. But it was,
people remember.
Yeah, it was. But it was four like with no tooling, and then we had time to tool for the second wave, and that was Tito Santana,
right? Piper.
Was Piper? No, Piper wasn't in that one.
Was that Piper was in the third?
Yeah, it gets very mixed up as I'll explain to you. It was Yokozuna,
right?
Tito Santana, Hulk Hogan, and Eddie Guerrero.
Yes. Okay. Right.
And that sold out immediately. So
except for Tito.
Well, no, he sold out immediately, and I'll tell you what. And then what happened was, they wanted more product, and so we developed another wave using no tooling to fulfill their orders, but the demand was so strong that before that wave could even be sort of delivered to them, reorders were generated for, the second series.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, and then so he would have been in the wave after that one to Dude Love,
after Tito.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then this sort of stopgap wave of repaints got sort of inserted in there as like, well, we just need to make sure that Target has product.
And who are those repaints?
I think that becomes a later part in the story.
Okay, go ahead.
So what happened was Target placed the orders and they generated, but because the repaint wave wasn't ready, they went to rerun the second wave, but the second wave had Hulk Hogan in there, and at this point Hulk Hogan was on the banish list,
and that was like an instantaneous thing where immediately everything has to change. So
what happened was, not only did they rerun the second wave with how many extra Tito Santanas, but all the orders that would have gone to the Hogan figure went to, on top of that, also got generated as a Santana figure.
Oh my gosh! So he not only did you replace all the Titos, but every Hogan in that line was also a Tito.
Yes.
And was that because this is our only Tito? I think that this would be the figure to replace him, or was it just we need to do something quick?
It was just because that number was blocked, the computer automatically went to the next one down in the system.
I see.
And it just happened to be Tito, which is like the one you probably. I mean, no offense to Tito. I mean, I love Tito Santana. That's why I was so happy we were able to get that figure in the wave.
And it's a great figure with the T-shirt and everything.
It's a phenomenal figure. I mean, I love that figure. But it's like now it's like almost like a cautionary tale of like what happens if you overproduce a certain figure, because so that wave went in instead of the repaint wave, and it get clogged. It basically put the brakes on the entire Hall of Fame segment at Target for almost like a year. So like that repaint wave never came out, and then the wave we were developing after that never came out, and then Dude Love was in that wave.
That was after the repaint wave. Yeah.
So and
was the plan like, okay, this isn't canceled necessarily, but it's just on a long hiatus, so we're just leaving Dude Love kind of in a we'll see category?
Well, in between that and then when he was scheduled again, we lost the rights to Foley. Like his
oh yeah, there was sort of
like a dip where he wasn't under a deal, and so even if we wanted to place him back in the line, which we did, we couldn't.
Right.
So then we got another opportunity to I think trying to figure this out. And I think it was for the Walmart waves that were coming out this year. and then I think he was in the. I think he might have been in the third wave of that.
In the Walmart wave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that the Then Now Forevers, or was that the Build-A-Figures?
The Then Now Forever is
Right.
with the like the one that ultimately came out recently with the I believe it's the Build to Shawn Michaels.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He would have been scheduled for that one.
Uh-huh.
But then there was a situation where that wave also got canceled.
Uh-huh.
And then at that point I was just like, I'm done with this. I'm putting this figure in just a standard,
Elite line.
because I was keeping him sort of like as like a strong, character from the past. Because when you do like a mix with characters just from the past, you want to have some bigger names in it that people recognize.
Sure.
So you can also do someone like.
But you're just staring at this Dude Love figure for 3 years, going
Yeah,
like,
it's
you're
just-
the bane of my existence. You're cursed.
Yeah. And so when we would show it, and it was like it was ready to go, and then something happens and like it doesn't go, and then it goes again.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of like the I think the final there was even the repaint wave for that Hall of Fame actually came out as like the final wave of 2017 for Hall of Fame, even though it was supposed to be like an interim wave in 2016.
Right.
Like that
right.
was Jake the Snake and Edge and
Yeah. I remember the way. Yeah. I know
think
exactly
there was
what
like a
you're talking about.
hodgepodge,
Yes.
and then like the wave we developed, that would have come after the repaint wave was like the Shawn Michaels. Then he was moved eventually to GameStop.
The Rocker Shawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ricky Steamboat. He was moved to a different.
The Walmart series.
Yeah, he was moved
Yeah.
to Walmart, and then there was some. Then there was the Target Hall of Fame 2-packs, and then like a second wave of that was canceled, and then but we moved those figures to Walmart and put them out, with like the.
What an amazing thing it is to try to juggle all of this stuff happening all the time, and it's interesting because like when we were growing up, it would be there was like one line of figures every 4 months, maybe even more. And now it's like everybody wants more stuff, new stuff so quickly that you're just having to figure out lines. And then we got to cancel that one. Okay, we got to push this one over here. Okay, we got to go that one. Like the juggling's insane.
Yeah, it's. I think in the past, like with Star Wars figures or especially GI Joe, you get like 3 waves a year, but the waves would have like 20 figures in it.
Right.
So one day you just go into Toys R Us, rest in peace, and just see like. Just like 20 new Star Wars figures. It's like, where did all these Star? Oh my! It's like, and that was at the time. It's like you didn't know what was coming out.
Right.
So it's like, man, I like. I'm gonna make a confession here. I loved the Ewoks when I was a kid.
Oh my God, that's bad.
Oh no, it's good. And I was always like, man, why don't they make all the Ewoks? Like, why don't they make that gray striped Ewok? And why don't they make, like the Ewok that steals the speeder bike? So every time I'd see new Ewok announcements, like I was like really, like yes.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I remember when the first time that I wasn't surprised in the store was like Jakks Superstar Series 1, because a mailer came out from Figures Inc. and they were like, these are coming in August. And it was like, oh my God, these aren't Hasbro's, these are blah, blah, blah. And by Series 3, Jakks Superstar Series 3, that's the first time that I found Ringside Collectibles. Way back then when it was like a members AOL site, and I didn't realize John was the same age as me and the whole thing, but like he had all the prototypes and everything early. So that's really, I mean, that's like 97, 98, 97, 96, 97. And that's when like, I started getting all the spoilers. But back to Dude Love.
Sure.
Figure is great. Logo on the shirt's amazing. He's got the tie-dye mandible claw. He's got the tattoo that actually looks good.
Yeah.
Like, when you put him next to the other Dude Love figures, whether it's the classic Superstars or the Slammers from Jakks or whatever, it's pretty clear. And this is the best Dude Love that's ever been done.
Yeah, I would agree.
But the controversy that's come up is the logo on the shirt. Dude Love, of course, wore the tie-dye shirt. Mm-hmm. I remember the shirt that you have him designed in. You don't have him designed in the shirt that's like the WWE shop shirt, and you didn't just do a random tie-dye shirt. You have him designed in the type of tie-dye that he wore for a certain era. And I was like, okay, that looks great. But it wasn't until it was brought to my attention on that Major Brothers podcast that the sort of tie-dye type design, it does stop. And then it becomes just a solid blue, which does leave you going, Oh, I could see where somebody would mistaken this for a tribal design. So why, Bill? Why does the tie-dye stop on the figure? Because that's what... I'm not going to say tribal. I'm not going to go that far. But I will ask you, why does the tie-dye stop?
I thought we were friends, Sam.
I have to know. The people want to know. I wouldn't be doing my job.
Those shirts are very hard to deco on to begin with.
Yeah.
You know, and just the way they sit in the rig, it's very hard to print, you know, in that area.
Right.
It's not impossible, but it's difficult, and sometimes you don't get the exact registration that you'd want. So so doing like an all-over tie-dye pattern to look good is difficult to begin with. And also, you know, I'm designing these for, you know, a lot of these I'm designing to make good stuff for myself, but I'm also designing for a company, you know, I can't just, you know, unlimited budget on each figure. And getting, you know, the tie-dye pattern requires a lot of tampo-its to get, so it's not just like, you know, here's red splotches and here's green splotches, and that's tie-dye. Like if you look at that tie-dye pattern on the shirt, and I do call it tie-dye because I think it represents tie-dye, even though I think it represents the way tie-dye actually looks on tie-dye shirts better than any other.
I'm going to tell you, but we are friends, and I will tell you, I prefer your Dude Love tie-dye shirt to Kurgan's shirt. I prefer your shirt. I know other podcasters have said Kurgan's shirt's better. It's not.
No, it's like. No, the Kurgan shirt is just a dyed shirt with like color clouds. It's
like nobody.
There's
no tie.
No, there's no. I mean, tie-dye has a pattern. Like if you look at like, especially in California where I live now, it's like tie-dye is like big out there, and there's like an actual pattern to it.
So you're letting these major brothers know that they don't even know what they're talking about when it comes to tie-dye. They're from Long Island.
Yeah.
What do a couple of jamokes from Long Island know about tie-dye?
A Kurgan sample,
right,
as a sample of tie-dye, or a Dude Love figure with just random little splotches of paint,
right,
you know, that are on the side of the shirt because it's molded in a solid plastic, which you can do the deco on, as opposed to a softer shirt that moves with the figure to get you full range of movement, which includes the trimming on the bottom of the shirt, which was never available on any other Dude Love figure before.
Right. You did that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there are...
And they don't appreciate that.
With everything, it's like... But there's a compromise you have to make on stuff like that. It's like this... If we do if we do a softer shirt and not just mold a solid torso... Mm-hmm. If I did a solid torso, it's a harder plastic. It's much easier to fit that in the machine rig to tampo all over.
When you saw it, did you go like, yeah, this is great? Or did it occur to you, oh, I wonder if any like real nerds are going to point out that this isn't quite tie-dye?
The first time I saw it was actually on a regular shirt, and it did look, especially on the sides, it looked like there was like a great barren wasteland of the...
When you say a regular shirt, you mean one of the ones that like you can take on and off?
Yeah.
Like but a plastic one.
Yeah.
But one of the ones that have like the notches in the side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was... You know, and it had like a lot of blue areas. So when I first saw it, it didn't read correctly to me. But when I saw when he put down the correct shirt, which was, you know, sized more properly to fit him, mm-hmm. and had the it's scalloped on the side to remove area which was blue before, and it has the cuts in it, which if you look at any Dude Love shirt, I'm pretty sure 75% of the time he had the cuts along the bottom.
Right, it was in fringe, yeah.
Yeah, and they went pretty far up the front of the shirt. So
mm-hmm. So you didn't think you'd have to sit here defending this thing after all that work you put in and all the work you put into actually getting it released. Now it's still... The Dude Love figure is cursed. Because even after you get it released, it still becomes the bane of your existence.
You know, there are certain figures you think like this is going to be a breeze, and people are just... it's just like, this is going to be nothing. And then there's stuff you just like... you just torture yourself. I was like, I don't know. This one, I'm not sure if this is, maybe, could we have done something better? And then you put it out there like a ringside fest, and people just lose their minds over it. It's like, it's like, whew. And then there's other stuff. It's like, oh yeah, this is great. And then you put it out in front of people, and like, they get like real weird about it. Like weird and like a protracted, public forum, 10 minutes on a public forum every week, bashing an action figure when
right. It's unfair. And can you tell me, Are we going to see the Wendy Richter figure that we have seen previously at any point? I guess originally it was supposed to be a 3-pack. Wasn't that Sherri?
No, the
was
Sasha
the
Banks.
Oh, it was Lita,
Banks,
Sasha, and Wendy Richter.
Yeah, the Wendy Richter. I'd like to get it out. It's a lot of it probably will be determined by how well this Sensational Sherri does.
Oh, maybe she can be like an exclusive bonus to an elite line, maybe.
Yeah,
type of thing.
Yeah, we'll see. Because even Wendy Richter goes even farther back than Sherri. If you started watching, I started watching this stuff in 85, 86, so even Wendy Richter was like even slightly before my time. Like, I recognize how important she is. It's going back and watching the WWE Network and like watching like the WrestleMania and the those early TNT shows. I don't know if you've ever watched those.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, they're
amazing.
It really, some of that stuff was mind blowing.
Have you ever wanted to build a TNT set like the way you did the Heartbreak Hotel and the SummerSlam set? Do you wish that you could do? I mean, it'd be so difficult and it's so niche.
It's so niche.
But like, but it'd be so much fun to have an old school Vince and Lord Alfred Hayes on an old TNT set.
I think if I brought that into a meeting, questions would be raised.
I believe that you're right. Yeah. So kind of speaking along those lines, I love like the Isaac Yankem, Shark, Virgil. The Red Rooster is going to be a Target.com figure, we think?
I think so.
Hope so.
I hope so.
Yeah. Is there a little doubt that might not get released?
I'm pretty sure it's going to be released, but I don't think it's going to be exactly when we thought it might have been.
But we'll still eventually get there.
That is the plan.
Do we? That's scary. Do we? Are there any other figures along those lines, or now that Toys R Us is gone, is it difficult to find a place that will take like these like completely bizarre, weirdo, nobody even liked them to begin with characters? A lot of things are sort of maybe not quite as on solid ground, just because when a major retailer goes away and one that has the ability to sort of absorb shelf space for something that maybe is a little bit more specialized or off the beaten path. When you're dealing with like a Target or Walmart specifically, they have very stringent planograms, and they don't deviate from them. And if it doesn't fit the planogram, like in a lot of cases, Target puts stuff on clearance like really quickly. And you don't want that.
No.
And kind of doing Matty Collector or Comic Con exclusives that you sell directly without a retailer, is that kind of not something you guys are doing? I mean, because that would be a great place to have like weirdo figures released.
Yeah,
right?
it's a lot of it's just determining how to do that effectively, knowing what your MOQ is, and making sure that if you do something, that you can do it and sell through your MOQ.
There were a couple of people because I tweeted out that we were going to do this, and there were a couple of people that reached out with questions. Any chance that we see a return of the Defining Moments line? People love that line, and a lot of those figures go for huge money on like eBay and stuff like that. And Entrance Greats is going away.
Entrance Greats is going away. Ultimates is the next sort of iteration of that.
Oh, right.
And then since Survivor Series is in Los Angeles, we are going to have like an unveiling of Ultimates around that time. So that would
there's going to be a year's worth of here's what the Ultimates look like this year type of thing.
Well, it'll be a reveal of what the Ultimates is.
Right. One person asks, any thoughts on making a chase of Ludwig Borga with only 9 figures? I mean 9 fingers.
Ludwig Borga is very unlikely to be in the Mattel line.
Yeah, I would imagine
there's some reason. If you look up, there's reasons why.
You can figure that out.
You'll figure out very quickly.
Are you doing Elite Bellas?
I don't see why we wouldn't at this point. Now that they're back on the programming.
Yeah, and I mean it seems like that's a slam dunk. This is a weird one. Any plans on Mattel Retros coming back to Walmart? Target might be a national chain store, but they aren't nearly as abundant as Walmart, blah, blah, blah. I didn't realize the Retros weren't at Walmart.
Yeah,
I thought that they were kind of out there. Like, I thought that the first line was exclusive to Walmart, and then after that, they were just everywhere. Or no?
They're available for every retailer to order. A lot of it is whether the retailer actually orders it or not, to be honest with you. And that's...
So that's just it. Ask Walmart is the answer to that question.
Yeah, I mean, that's something where once I sort of finish something like this and the aesthetics are approved, a lot of what happens next is sort of up to other people in the company, and it's not my, they don't step on my toes. I don't want to step on their toes.
Do you have a favorite figure that's been made? I think the last time I asked you that, it was Asuka.
The Asuka, that was pretty good. My favorite figure of all time that I've worked on is the Finding Moments Macho.
It's so great.
Yeah, and that answer's probably never going to change, just because I probably told that story, before about like.
Yeah, I think we talked about it last time about you meeting Macho Man and stuff. Look up that podcast; it's still out there. The possibility of an Alex Wright figure being made, Das Wunderkind, not later on, Berlin.
Not
I think.
Berlin.
Yeah, Das Wunderkind, Alex Wright. I got one over there from official San Francisco toy makers
with the jacket.
with the jacket molded on. Yeah.
Low, not gonna lie.
Okay, so low is
low.
the. Now, one person's asking about how the talent getting a lump sum for overall of their likeness, but you don't determine what kind of money. No, you just make their figures.
No, if someone new shows up on the list of WWE legend talent, it's like, oh, is this something we want to put in the line? And if it's, you go from there.
Are you ever going to make retro females?
Oh, the
in the retro line, the little.
Yeah, I hope so.
You'd like to see that.
I'd like to see that personally.
All right, I think we got to most of them here, or most of the good ones. Listen, Bill, I appreciate you making the time. I got a question.
Oh,
the ring.
Yes.
I think it's a great display piece, but people were upset about the height of the ropes and the corners and everything. The new SmackDown ring exactly the same size, right? Are you going to do another one where the ropes come up a little higher? How or why does something like that happen? What do you think of it?
I think if we put out another iteration of that ring, that the ring rope issue will be addressed, because enough has been said about it.
Yeah.
Where I think it's not. Sometimes when stuff, it can be seen as like one, person rambling on about a dude love shirt. But in other situations, when like enough people say it, people hear about it.
Now, was that at all discussed, like when you were putting out the SmackDown ring? Were you guys saying, like, do we have time to do this? Well, we want to get the SmackDown ring right out, blah, blah, blah.
Timing had something to do with it, too.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you'll find situations where you're not sure if something's going to go forward, and then you just through timing and development cycles, and then by the time you get to the point where it's like, yeah, we are putting this back out, and we can only develop a new figure for it. So it's like, well,
any more Goldberg figures planned?
Yeah, he's got the entrance.
The entrance grate. Yeah. But is that it?
I don't think so. It's once we got the rights back to put him in the line, it was one of those where it's like, oh, well, we're gonna take advantage of this.
And how long do you think it'll be before Jinder gets a non-ring release?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Because you do have to be delicate about, like, why put an exclusive figure if you're not going to make it exclusive to that ring, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of us, we want to sort of keep the value of the SmackDown ring.
Sure.
If you put out a different Jinder right away, just say because he grows his hair longer, which he's done,
right,
to match that, it's like, well, if you really want Jinder,
you got to get the ring.
It's the yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Well, Bill, I appreciate you hanging and stopping by.
Oh, no worries.
This is...
By the way, I just want to let everyone know that I was found not guilty this morning.
Yes.
On the podcast.
On the Major Brothers wrestling figure.
So after all that
nonsense.
Yeah, all that nonsense about, Nine-Finger Ludwig Borga and, Dude Gate, I think wrote some apologies, actually.
I do too. And Bill, you'd be a good witness. I mean, look at what you've designed, right? Clearly you are an expert when it comes to this stuff. This is all you. You got to walk through my studio here. A good portion of my collection.
Yeah, I mean,
is on display.
Yeah, I've walked through it. I mean, I hear terms like hot garbage thrown around, and it's like
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. I mean, it's.
What about this? What about poser has been thrown around?
Yeah, I mean, you can't be a poser if look, I have a Greedo. I have a Star Wars collection, and I have a Greedo in it, like the original Greedo. And that Greedo the head is glued to the body, and there's a big glop of glue. Mm-hmm. And I could go to, Greedo's one of the most common, Star Wars figures from back in the day. You can probably just find them in a bargain bin now for $5.
Right.
It's 4 years ago, but it's like, you know what? That's the Greedo that I played with as a kid.
That's your Greedo.
That Greedo's been through sandboxes. That Greedo's been to schools. That Greedo's been, God knows how many of my friends' houses. And you know what? We played with it, and the head fell off, and somehow my dad glued the head back on, and maybe it may have been a little too much with the glue, but you know what?
Happens.
That's my Greedo, yeah.
Right. And then because you're a collector, not just some guy who buys and sells on eBay. I mean, let's be honest. Zack Ryder is basically a scalper, not a collector. As often as he buys and resells everything, I texted him today.
Yeah, I was gonna say it would be if he had his original collection, but the amount of times he's like, resold and rebought and resold and rebought his collection. It's like think of the real money that's been gone into that.
I mean, yeah, seriously. I texted Zack Ryder today. I was like, look, say what you want about my Ludwig Borger or my Hasbros, but I have a loose mint Onita figure from Japan. You know what he said? I don't know who that is.
Yeah, and this is a man who calls himself the Michael Jordan.
He didn't even know who Onita is.
He didn't know that Boris Zukov had a figure. He's like, here's characters that have never had a figure. Boris Zukov. And I almost spit my Diet Coke over my screen at work. I'm like, Boris Zukov has a figure. I spent significant money to get a Boris Zukov figure because those last 8 AWA figures, were in limited release and cost a lot of mone.
But Mr. Michael Jordan didn't know anything about the AWA line.
The Michael Jordan of wrestling action figures, like, oh, I don't deal with Remcos. It's like, well, that's okay. You're the Horace Grant at best.
Right.
Like Horace Grant's a great player.
Right.
And I'm sure he has. I'm sure Zack Ryder has a great collection to be proud of.
Great collection.
But if you're calling yourself the Michael Jordan, it's like you got to be like above and beyond.
Right.
Like I wouldn't even. I've got some cool stuff in my collection. I would never call myself the Michael Jordan of action figure, or wrestling action figure, because you have to be like so far above everyone else that like you can't touch.
Right. Right.
And if you're not dealing with like the Japanese wrestling action figures are amazing.
Amazing. All the New Japan stuff that came out around like 99.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like I went to Tokyo for the first time last year. And there's a shop there. Well, I'm not going to say it out here because I don't want people going there now in advance of me going back. But there's a shop there, and I went in there, and there was like a wall of all like those figures from that era. And there was stuff that I had, and there was stuff that I didn't have, and I was just like staring in awe. It's like, oh my God, a store like this actually exists.
Yeah.
And I went nuts. And I left stuff on the table, and it's like I'm going back, and I'm gonna just.
If Zack Ryder went to that store, he'd look at all the figures on display and he'd be like, "Are these guys wrestlers? I've never heard of any of them."
He'd like, he's like, he would have no idea he'd get excited about the limited edition Cactus Jack that was there,
right?
Because like that's his frame of reference.
He goes on eBay and he buys the vibrating Nitro figures. I mean, this is who we're dealing with. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Bill, thank you for hanging out.
Oh, no worries.
It's always fun, and I mean. Everything's just getting better and better. I'll tell you, in Elite 65, this is 65, right? Mm-hmm. In Elite 65, I think Ronda is like Ronda, I'm trying to figure out now how to slide it under the table so that you leave without noticing it. Because Ronda's for sure my favorite figure in this line. She's amazing. The Nia Jax is really good. I think Eric Young might be my second favorite in the line, behind Ronda. I think Ronda and Eric Young are my two favorites, but because I need an updated Roman Reigns and an updated Rusev, this is going to be another one where I have to get I'm going to get the whole set. I'm going to get the whole Elite line.
I'm probably most happy with the Sherri figure because it's
pretty amazing.
There was so many ways this figure could have gone wrong, and just seeing it now with everything the way it is, it's just sometimes when you open the box and you're getting a figure and you get like the first samples, you're kind of like have like a trepidation,
right?
Like, I'll be honest, like this is the second version of the Ronda. The first one that he sent me, the hair color was wrong.
Oh, really?
And it was like, oh, that's we can't show that. So it's like we got to hurry up and get this fixed for the show. And like, as I was saying before, like they broke ass to get the figures ready for the show. So,
yeah, and the 2 Aiden Englishes with the hand and everything.
Yeah.
I just you guys are doing yourselves. Do you know how long the Mattel WWE deal is right at the moment? Off the top of your head?
I know it's at least through 2020 because I'm working on stuff for 2020 already. So
wow.
Let's hope, keep going for foreseeable future.
Are there any When you say you're working for stuff for 2020, is it just figures, or are there more rings, play sets, things like that coming out?
Yeah, we're working
Everything.
on. Yeah, and it's like trying to figure out like what haven't we done that maybe we could put in the line, like what have people responded to some of our newer initiatives more strongly than others. What have we seen is working for other people that maybe we could
Are you going to do another?
if there's any new technologies we can take advantage of.
Yeah, clearly it's working.
Yeah.
Any more Build-A-Figures?
I don't think there's anything planned right now.
Are there any weird figures coming out that like somebody like me would be like, oh my god, I can't believe they're doing it?
I think there are some stuff that's coming out that will be sort of surprising.
Good.
I don't know if it's right now just because of the whole Toys R Us situation. Like
you don't know if they'll actually...
the shark and the red rooster were planned for Toys R Us.
Right.
They moved to Target just because Toys R Us.
There ain't no Toys R Us.
Yeah, that's lots changed since like we last talked. Like Toys
Yeah.
R Us is gone. I've been to a magical toy store in Japan.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, we'll do this again. Thank you, my friend.
And I have wrestling merch. I have my
You have your own Make Bill Sweat T-shirt.
Yeah,
Is there anything? Can you plug that? Is there any place where people can get it?
I think it's still on Amazon.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
get yourself a Make Bill Sweat shirt. What do you think of the decision to do Howard Finkel body, Luke Gallows head for the Bill Miekina figure?
I think they could have done better.
Okay, me too. Thank you very much, man, and I'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.